So already we have learned about the fertilization, how it takes place in plants. So now let's see how this takes place in animals or human beings. First of all, what is fertilization? So fertilization means, in simple terms, fusion of haploid male and female gametes to form diploid zygote. So usually when the sperm and the egg fuses together, whatever is developed in the form of zygote. This process is called as what? Fertilization. So whenever a fertilization takes place, mostly it takes 3 days for an egg to travel down to the uterus so that whatever the fertilization process can occur. But the leaving time or the lifespan of the egg is only 24 hours after it is released. So generally what happens is during the copulation or mating process, before that only what happens is whatever the egg or ovum is there, that will travel to uterus via oviducts. But as I told you, the lifespan of it is just 24 hours. After that, it disintegrates. Okay, so if in that means like 24 hours in the leaving time, if it gets any sperm and if it fuses the egg, then what happens is fertilization process takes place. Okay, so basically there are many ways, okay, in which the fertilization may happen. Either it may take place through a natural process or even artificial process it may take place through. So the first thing that we are going to see is how actually a fertilization takes place, or what are the ways by which it can take place. So the first one is artificial insemination. So artificial, in the name itself, it's there. Naturally, that process is not going to take place. Artificially, we'll do it under the sterile conditions. So here what happens is basically a female is made pregnant through semen injection into vagina. So whatever process naturally should take place, it is done what? Artificially. So in this process, actually what happens is whatever the semen is there, which is containing the male gamete, which is the sperm. Okay, so this is being collected from the male and they will make sure it is a good quality and it has number of what you say motile sperms in it. So once it is done, because only good quality semen is there means only the fertilization also will take place easily. That is, the chances of fertility will improve or increase in that particular female. Because sometimes what happens is if it is not, what do you say, good quality, or if the number of sperms inside that semen is very less, then what will happen is the chances of fertility may become less. So that is the reason whenever a couple goes for an artificial insemination, the good quality is being collected, it is checked, okay, and then only inserted inside the female body. So before the insertion of this particular semen into the female body, it is made sure that all the pregnancy hormones which are required for the female is already introduced into the female so that she can go forward with that particular pregnancy. Okay, so here this is one method by which pregnancy can be achieved, that is artificial insemination. Okay, so but related to this only one more topic we have is nothing but the method of control of overpopulation. Okay, so as you know that human population, like a couple and two for a couple, it's the law by the government, but most probably many people they are having what 4, 5, 10, any so many children they will be having. So that will be leading to what? Human population. Okay, so human population means it will completely affect the environment. Right, so for this reason only, there are certain methods which are used to control the overpopulation. Overpopulation. So what are the methods by which we can reduce the population or control the population? Let's see. So the first one is educating the people. Okay, like for example, how nowadays, like how in the school textbooks, you are being taught these things. So this is a kind of what education which we give to the children. Okay, and they may pass on to their parents as well. Correct? So through the education, okay, specifically to those children of the reproductive age, like, 18, after 18 or during that particular puberty period, if you educate that particular people, what will happen is this overpopulation may be reduced. So there are different ways by which you can educate the people, like any source of media you can go to, television, okay, via schools, through books, okay, posters, so arranging certain sessions for it. So many people, so many ways are there so that we can educate the people about the or how to control the population. Okay, next thing that we can do is the age of the marriage. Okay, so early marriage should be prevented. So that's from 18 years. Okay, after 18 years only, the marriage should be kept for the children. So these things can help a lot to control what? The overpopulation. Other methods which are popularly used nowadays to control the overpopulation are to control the population, that is population control. Okay, so here the population can be controlled by a method called as contraception. Now, what is contraception? Contraception is a process of preventing pregnancy in women. Prevention of pregnancy in women. So, for this process, there is a chemical or a device which is used, okay, to prevent the pregnancy, which is called as contraceptive. So, what is contraceptive? Any device or chemical which is going to prevent the pregnancy. So now what are these contraceptive methods which can be adopted? So these are basically called as birth control methods. Birth control methods, which are as follows. So the first one is called as barrier method. Barrier method. So in the name itself, it's there. A barrier will be there so that it will prevent the entry of sperm into the female. Okay, so barrier method is nothing but there will be having some physical devices which will prevent entry of sperms. Okay, means that sperm will not be able to reach the egg. And if it doesn't, then obviously fertilization will not happen. So one such example is condoms, or that is in most probably for the males, or in females, diaphragm. Okay, so not only this will prevent the pregnancy, but also it will help to protect against STDs. That is sexually transmitted diseases like AIDS or whatever it is, or infections also. So for that also the barrier methods is useful. Second birth control method is chemical method. So chemical method means obviously here there will be pills or medicines will be given. So there are two types of pills which may be given. First is oral pills. Okay, so oral pills are basically made up of hormones. So if someone is taking this pill, what is going to happen is their hormones, that is the male hormone testosterone and female hormone progesterone and estrogen, whichever is there. So this pill, after taking this pill, what will happen? It will change the hormonal balance of the body. So it changes the hormonal balance in such a way that egg will not be released. So if egg is not released, there will be no source for the sperm to fertilize. So that is how the pregnancy is prevented. So here hormone preparation is being done in that pills, plus how it acts by changing hormonal balance of body. Okay, so because they are taken orally, hence they are called as the oral pills. But obviously, these oral pills have side effects. Then second type of pill is vaginal pill. So vaginal pills means this pills will be having something called as spermicides. So what the spermicides will do is, like how we know pesticides and insecticides. Pesticides kills the pest, insecticides kills the insects. In the same way, spermicide, what it will do is, it will kill the sperms and will prevent the pregnancy. Okay, so this is the second method. Then the third method is IUCD, means intrauterine contraceptive device. Now, what is this IUCD? IUCD is such a contraceptive which is actually inserted into the body of the female via the uterus. So once this thing is inserted, like, see, it will be somewhat like this. Okay. So it's the general name what is used for it is copper T. So this copper T is usually placed inside the uterus. Okay, so wherever the opening of the uterus is there this device is placed. So when you will place this device, what will happen is, if suppose this is the uterus, okay, so here there are two things. Okay, that is the cervix. I'll just a second. Okay, so this is suppose the cervix. Okay, that is the opening of the uterus. So what happens is this particular thing is placed over here. So when it is placed, what will happen? It will act as a barrier. So whatever these sperms are there, it cannot swim inside the uterus to fertilize the egg. So hence it is prevented. Okay, but here also again side effects are there. Or it may also cause irritation to the human, to the female. Then the last type of birth control method is surgically. But surgical method means it's a permanent method. So once this method is done, then there will be no source of fertilization or pregnancy in either of the human. Okay. So there are two surgical methods which are being used. So the first one is called as vasectomy. So what is vasectomy? Basically, this surgery is done in males. Okay, so what happens or how this surgery is being done is, there is a part in males called as vas deferens. which is basically referred as sperm duct. Okay, which stores the sperm. So here what happens is this vas deferens is cut, okay, and tied. So when this sperm duct is cut and tied at the ends, what will happen? Sperms will not come out. So if it's not coming out, obviously no fertilization chances there. But again, as I told you, this is permanent method. In the same way, for the females also, there's a method called as cubectomy. So tubectomy in females, same thing only, but here whatever the part which is cut and tied is called as fallopian tubes. Fallopian tubes. So this fallopian tubes is cut, then tied. So because of that, what will happen? The egg will not enter the fallopian tube. So these are the two methods of surgery which can be done for a permanent contraception thing. Okay, so these are what certain ways, okay, by which the pregnancy can be prevented. Now, next important thing is how actually this reproduction takes place in human beings. Okay, so let's see that. So basically, whatever the reproduction purpose is there, okay, in the human beings, they are only functional after a certain age, which is called as what? Sexual maturity. So this sexual maturity is nothing but puberty. Okay, so usually at the age of say 13 to 14 years, okay, the sexual maturity is being attained. Like for males, you can say 13 to 14 in case of males, whereas for the females, it is 12 to 13 years in females. Okay, so this age is called as what? The age of puberty. So here, in that male as well as in the female, certain sexual maturity, that is the changes will take place. That may be in case of what? Hormones. Okay, so basically puberty is nothing but hormonal change. So because of the hormonal changes, what will happen is secondary sexual characteristics are developed. Characteristics are developed. It means change in the voice, okay, in the body appearance, mustache growing. Okay, so many things are there. So by which what a male and female undergoes during the time of what? Puberty. Okay, so once this is attained, next process is what? The male reproductive and female reproductive system. So let's see the first reproductive system, which is the male reproductive system. Now, obviously, after the puberty, certain changes will take place, right? So there are certain parts or organs which helps in the reproduction process. So what are the organs which are present in the male for the reproduction? So this reproductive system comprises of, first one is this testis, second scrotum, third vas deferens, fourth epididymis, fifth urethra, sixth penis, and seventh accessory glands. So let's see what are the parts in detail. So the first one is the testis. Okay, now this particular part acts as a primary sex organ, and one pair will be present which is oval shaped Now this particular part is present inside a pouch, which is called as scrotum. Now, what is the function of this pouch or the scrotum? It plays a very important role in the male reproductive part. Okay, so the basic function of a scrotum is what? Thermoregulation. So thermoregulation means, I'll tell you what it is. This particular organ maintains the body temperature less than 2 degrees from the body. Okay, means now here what happens is it will help in the development of the sperm. So in order for the sperm to develop, there should be a particular temperature so that it can survive. So what happens is, suppose if our body temperature is say 28 degrees. So here in this area, the temperature will be 26 degrees. So 2 degrees less than the body temperature is being maintained over here by the scrotum. And the purpose for this is what? Regulation, or you can say development of sperm. Otherwise, they will be killed. That's the reason. Okay. Then next, after this, we have what? Many testicular lobes. Okay. Now, usually this testis, it will be having many testicular lobes. Now, what is this testicular lobes and how does it function? Now, each lobe, okay, I told you many are present. So, each lobe will be having a particular tubule which is called as seminiferous tubule. See, testis is nothing but the primary organ. Okay. So it is present inside a pouch which is called as scrotum, which acts as a thermoregulator for the development of the sperm. Now, inside the testis, there are what? Many testicular lobules, and each lobules will be divided, or it will be having what? A tubule called as seminiferous tubule. Okay, so basically each lobule will be having a seminiferous tubule of 1 to 3 in number. Fine. So this particular seminiferous tubule, that is in between these 1 to 3 seminiferous tubule in each lobe, it has a connective tissue. Okay, a connective tissue, which is basically called as what? Leydig cells. Leydig cells. Okay, so seminiferous tubules, in between them, there is a connective interstitial cells or tissues, which are called as what? Leydig cells. Now, what is the function of this Leydig cells? Basically, for the hormone production. And which is the male hormone? Testosterone. So the male sex hormone is termed as what? Testosterone. So this particular hormone is responsible for the primary and secondary characteristics in a male during the puberty and after it also. This is the first part. Second part is called as epididymis. So epididymis is nothing but a long, coiled, tube-like structure which stores and activates the sperm. Okay, so this is the, you can say, storehouse for sperm. So once it's produced, it is stored in this epididymis. Okay, and also the activation also starts from here only. So here basically what it does is it also secretes a fluid which is called as seminal fluid. Okay, so inside this seminal fluid only the sperms will be present. Then comes the third part called as vasa differentia. So vasa differentia is nothing but at the lower end of the epididymis, you will find this part which is called as what? Vas difference. where you will find this lower end of epididymis. Okay, so what this vas difference does is it will enter into the abdominal cavity. Now from here only the urethra part which is there, till there it has to go. Whatever the means during the ejaculation of the sperm, it has to enter till the urethra thing. So for that purpose only this vas difference is present. So basically you will find them in the lower end of the epididymis. So this vas difference will enter where? Into the abdominal cavity of the male. Abdominal cavity. So how it will enter to the abdominal cavity is there will be a canal present. Okay. So whatever the ureter is there, it will form a loop around the ureter. Okay, like this loop it will form around the ureter, and then finally it will join where? To the seminal vesicles. Seminal vesicles. Now, once this particular vas difference reaches the or joins to the seminal vesicles, it is going to form a duct which is called as ejaculatory duct. So, in the name itself, it's there, ejaculation purpose it will help in, and this will open into the urethra. Okay, so from the testis, then the epididymis, then vas differenza, then this vas differenza goes into the ureter, passing via the seminal vesicles, ejaculatory duct, and then the urethra. Okay, then comes the fourth part, which is called as the urethra. So this basically you will find is it arises from the urinary bladder, and it will join what? Join the ejaculatory duct to form urinogenital canal. Now, what is this urinogenital canal? So, in simple words, urinogenital canal is nothing but a canal which is going to carry few things such as urine, sperm, then certain secretions, whatever the seminal vesicles or any other glands has done. Okay, so this is all about the urethra. Then comes the last thing, which is the penis. So this is nothing but the external part, that is the long muscular organ, which is basically made up of erectile tissue. Okay, so this organ or this part is responsible for the transfer of sperm into the vagina of the female body during the copulation process. So this is what the primary parts. Now let's see the accessory parts or the accessory sex glands in the male. So the first one is the seminal vesicle. Okay, so what is the seminal vesicle? Seminal vesicles is nothing but they are elongated, coiled sacs. So this is the vesicle which secretes what? Seminal fluid. And this seminal fluid in turn provides energy to the sperms. Energy to sperms. Now the sperms are also called as spermatozoa. Okay, so whatever the seminal fluid is there, this is only called as the semen. Now, what is the function of this particular seminal fluid, or you can say the semen in short? So, the functions of semen are, first of all, it will provide fluid medium to the sperm. Secondly, it helps in nourishment and activation. And third is it will provide lubrication to female tract. So these are what the functions of the semen which are produced by the seminal vesicles. Then the second type is prostate gland. So prostate gland means basically this also is going to secrete fluid and plus some enzymes which are again required for what? Swimming of sperms plus nourishment. So these are the two types of accessory sex glands. One is the seminal and other one is the prostate gland. So both basically produces fluid or the enzymes which helps in the activation, nourishment or movement of the sperms. Okay, then the last part of a male reproductive system, that is sperm. Or spermatozoa. Now basically if you see a structure of the sperm, okay, how it looks like is, okay, this is how it looks like. This is the tip which is called as acrosome. Then there will be a head, okay, a small neck over here, and then the tail for the motility purpose. So what happens is when the sperm enters into the female body and finds the egg, okay, so to break this egg and to go inside, the function of the acrosome, okay, like for example, if you see, if this is a sperm and it has reached to this egg, so what this acrosome will do is it will synthesize certain enzymes that will disintegrate the wall of the egg, and so that the sperm head will go inside. So once the sperm goes inside, what will happen is the process of the fertilization will start. So basically the tail is for the purpose of movement, okay, or swimming purpose also you can say. Acrosome is to disintegrate the wall of the egg. Okay, then you have the head and the neck which has the what? Energy storing purpose, and the nucleus. So mitochondria plus the nucleus it will be having. Okay, so this is all what the overall structure of the sperm.